My bugbear with it is he's talked about like the greatest fucking winger that's ever come out of the world, right? From that game against Wigan last year, when Liam Marshall scored a way better try, okay, had a way better season, and Regan Grace was the person who they were talking about who should he be Young Player of the Year. He's older than both Tom Davies and Liam
But his
Marshall.
hair's not as good. That's the thing. Liam Marshall's hair's just not as good as
His hair game
Regan
is
Grace.
his hair game is absolutely rock solid. I'm not getting on. I'm not getting on top of Regan Grace for that. I just think he could be a bit more efficient with his finishing, or with his finishing off plays, and I don't know. You know what I mean? I just.
I get it. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But anyway, I don't really need to be that worried about it, do I? Because he plays for Saints, and he won't be playing for England. He's Welsh, so
Yeah.
I did enjoy seeing him getting interviewed a couple of times. I think it's good for a young strike player like him to be raising his profile. That I would say.
Yeah. Anyway, well, he's from Patel, but he's always going to get the love from me. So even if it is just somewhere you drive
But
through,
do you not think
realise
that
people really live there.
do you not think that the chances that go begging through him are sometimes easier than the chances
But
he
that's the
takes?
volume. Well, yeah. I think that's right. I think that's true. But it's partly down to the volume of stuff that he gets. He just he gets through the volume,
Yeah.
and therefore you pick up on those that he misses probably a bit more. Partly because he does pull off those spectacular ones that by rights he shouldn't be finishing.
That is a fair point. I mean, the little dips he does and the little swivels he does to get out of contact. He breaks a lot of tackles because he gets himself into a position where someone isn't quite close enough. They're close enough to get a hand on him, but not close enough to get an impactful hit on him because he's so good with the way he moves.
I mean, this is a horrible comparison in a way, but it's Rob Burrow-esque in the fact that he uses, the jinking, the using every little bit of him to get round and get out of a hole, that he just creates that extra bit of space by his physicality and by using his body to duck out of things. He's got the step both ways and everything. He just creates that when he shouldn't be able to by rights.
Yeah, I mean, one thing as well for me this week, it's like each time I see Wakefield, one or other of the centre takes the jump ahead of the other in terms of who should be the other centre in the dream team at the end of the year. And I think Reece Lynn probably took half a step above Bill Tupu this week, and I'm sure next time I see them play, Tupu will be the dominant factor.
I quite like Tupu in this game. I thought he had a good. I was listening to this last week. I was 50-50 as well.
Yeah, but it's really exciting that they've got two absolute quality performers at the moment. Okay, on to the stats then. Discipline and tackling were issues for the home side with a sub 90% team tackle success rate and a 9-5 penalty count. They overcame. Actually, do you know what? We'll finish this off, but we haven't talked about referee decisions. They overcame these with more metres, a big 1.4 metre per carry, better average gain, and 8 breaks to 6. Two huge calls, weren't there? On that, someone said about 50-50s.
Yeah, a bit more.
And that was, Wakey White. And I actually feel that a lot of the 50-50s went Wakefield's way. I think they were getting the odd penalty that weren't necessarily getting given the other way.
They definitely seemed to have momentum with them, and I think that was partly on the back of that. But certainly when they were down, you still thought they were going to come into it just by virtue of what they were gaining through everything.
No, exactly. The decisions that went against them, they weren't 50-50. They were 80-20. They were they were big calls, and we want to back the referees from not using the video referee.
Yeah.
So that's why I wouldn't get on James Childs too much about either of the calls. I'm not sure what would have come out of that first, the penalty try incident. I mean, to me, it was a deliberate attempt to do an illegal act. So does that push it into the range of a potential professional foul? I mean,
you've got to be looking towards the card and penalty try, I think.
One or the other.
That's what's
I would sort of lean more towards the card on that one because there was probably 3 or 4 Saints players around James Batchelor when he was going to put it down, and Barber swinging out a leg to kick it. If he'd have not done that and done something else, I don't think it's necessarily certain that he grounds it on that. And I know it looks like his arm would have come down with the ball on the line, but I just think with all those other people around
there's enough
ball,
there. There's enough doubt in that the scoring action isn't.
Yeah.
Certain.
But if you do go on that way of thinking, and I think oftentimes when the player's not in the in-goal area, on those kind of ones, I can understand why they go for the penalty rather than the penalty try. But
yeah,
it was a deliberate act. It was a deliberate act that was specifically against the rules, in my view. So
would you say penalty and a card then?
Yeah, I just said a card. Would have been fair enough, but one or the other, not neither, surely. And then, if anything, I think the Zeb Taylor one was even more questionable in that one just felt like it had to go upstairs. Like it felt like it took so long from the tackle being started to the ball being put down, and he was so low throughout that felt like one where he would have had a reasonable reason to go to the screen in my view, and I wouldn't have been criticising him in any way going for the screen, even if it was that the ball carrying arm never hit the floor.
Yeah,
that's
no, I think that's reasonable.
That's my take.
I think it's one of those ones where they've kind of got to be aware of the situation as well and what it means. And actually, it's one we'd rather, if you ask fans, they'd rather take time over something like that.
Yeah.
Than some of the ones you see, like the first or second try of the game, where it's clearly obvious, but they're just using it because there's something they're not quite sure about. I think
no, exactly.
Ones like that,
can you have a look for somewhere in the middle of an obstruction with no specific fucking guidance about where that might be?
Yeah, or can you, despite the fact that there was a touch judge within 3 inches of the player, and he was clearly a foot in from touch. Could you have a look at touch in goal on this one? Oh, God, again. Right, okay.
Yeah, no one would have blamed him, and it was ultimately it was the winning score as well.
Yeah.
But Wakefield didn't do enough in the first half. I don't think they made too many mistakes. Gave themselves too much more to do. Like I say, that penalty situation, flipped that round with the score lines, and they walked to this second half because they can just take time off the clock, kick the penalty goals, control possession, that sort of stuff, and they didn't give themselves the opportunity to do that. And even though it's a harsh criticism, they took the lead too early. They were too good in that first 20 of that second half.
Yeah.
But I
get that. Yeah, they did almost shoot the bolt a bit before when they needed to.
Okay, individual stats. Regan Grace, 2 tries, 8 tackles, 205 metres, and it was the game leading and weekend leading metre figure, so well done to Regan Grace for that. 3 clean breaks. Zeb Taylor, 1 try, 121 metres. Mark Percival, 3 try assists, 5 tackles, 119 metres, 2 clean breaks. Luke Thompson, 138 metres. For the losing Wakefield side, the valiant, credible losing side, Tom Johnson, 2 tries, 110 metres, 2 clean breaks. Ryan Hampshire, 1 try, 1 try assist, 6 tackles, 118 metres. David Fafita, 148 metres, 5 successful offloads. And Matty Ashurst, 1 try assist, 114 metres. Okay, on to Friday's final game, and it is Hull FC versus Widnes, and it finished 31-24. It was 16-12 to the Hull FC side at half time. Things turned around just after half time, and then Hull were able to come back and cling on. 10,420 were there. Greg Dolan was the referee, and start with AK Steel 69.
Yeah, they say that like a dose of the clap, Widnes proved difficult to shake off in this closer than anticipated contest. In fairness, Widnes played well and didn't look like relegation fodder. Hull scored regularly early on, aided by Fatty Caravan, and watched the well-planned executed Harris try and the important role of Farimo. Widnes then found speed at the ruck before Connor moved from centre to half-back, and the rest is history.
Fatty Caravan?
Pat the Van.
Oh, right, yeah, makes sense now. Yeah, okay, Joshua's granddad said, an unconvincing 25 minutes saw FC open an easy 16-0 lead, and then we allowed Widnes back into play soon behind 18-16, and the Snake decided it was time to take control. Setting up a score for Carlos, Widnes continued to graft, regaining the lead before a Jake penalty and drop goal edged us back in front, and finally game management was seen with FC running the clock down, try off a forward, capping it. I'm not even sure it was forward, that pass for that last try. When I saw the highlights, I thought it was borderline flat.
It was getting there. I mean, to use the Andy Townsend, I've seen them given.
Fair enough.
And finally, Sarah said, this had the feel of a mid-table end of season, nothing to play for match, poor game devoid of much excitement, more injuries for us to contend with, just for a change.
Yeah, who picked up the injuries? I think the one that I read about was Dean Hadley. Has picked up another injury, and he's had a few knocks in the last month or so.
I was going to say, that's probably the third or fourth time this season he's been out.
Yeah. I'm not aware of any other ones picked up. Interesting flow to this game, because it was when Hull had looked like they were established themselves. A couple of easy tries, Liam Harris, very nicely taken solo try, but you would expect better defence on him than what went on there. And then Widnes sprung to life, and young Owen Buckley on his debut grabbed a try, which was really good for him, and it went in 16-12 at half time, and then they came out, and Sam Wilde, with a Christian conversion, took the lead. So Widnes were in absolute dreamland. Really, it's remarkable.
Yeah, well, and the first couple of tries, or certainly one of them, was definitely a Pat Levan fuck up where he just didn't make the tackle and just got completely sold.
Oh yeah, the Albert Kelly.
It was one for the low light reel, definitely.
And then even after the breakaway Carlos Tumavave try, was quite a nice one to watch. Jay Chapelhow, who he's a Widnes player that deserves to be in Super League next year, even if Widnes aren't. I don't want to write off the chances.
He's cemented his status this year as good Chapelhow.
Yeah, but to me, Danny Walker was the sort of talk of the town, weren't he? Back end of last year and earlier this season, as the exciting talent coming through there. But for me, Jay Chapelhow is the bloke that is showing he belongs in Super League. So more power to him, and another try for him. And that was, with 20 minutes or so left, Hull FC were losing this game, and you would not have picked that, would you?
No, not at all. Especially given Jake Connor and the form he's been in, but the way he did assert his dominance at the back end of the game just showed again. I think he was one of the players that's been enhanced by the Denver trip. He's just got even more confidence, if that were possible.
Yeah, and it's another man of the match display from him. And how many times have we seen that for Hull?
And also, it's where he's changed a game, and I think that's the key thing in international level. It's not where he's played well throughout the whole game. It's where he's shifted position, or he's come on off the bench, or something's happened and he's reacted to it, and he's changed the game and kicked on. And I think that's the really positive sign.
And it looks like he's moved in from the centres to a more central position for the second half, and like you say, changed the game. So well done to him. Okay, Hull FC won on all the key stats that normally indicate a winning result. So the result was right, even if the outcome was closer than the black and white fans wanted. 191 more metres, at almost a metre per carry, better average gain. 2 more breaks, 1 more try, fewer errors, fewer penalties conceded, and a better team tackle success. So wins across the board there, Hull FC, and on the scoreboard in the end. Individually, Carlos Tumavave with a try assist, 6 tackle balls, 151 metres. Barreto Ferremo with a try, 5 tackle balls, 163 metres, 2 clean breaks, and he didn't take anyone's head off, so impressive.
Hey, well done, Ferremo.
Danny Houghton, a try assist and 42 tackles, so worked hard both ways, yeah, mate. Scott Taylor bouncing back from Denver as well, another player impressing on return from the Mile High with 115 metres. For the losing Widnes side, a few mentions that regularly come up recently. Jay Chapelhow with a try and 40 tackles, Sam Wilde with a try and 40 tackles, and Rhys Hamry back in the side, 118 metres. On to the final game of the round. It was a Saturday afternoon thriller in the south of France. Big crowd on, 10,236. Robert Hicks was the referee. The game was arguably won at half-time with a 30-10 scoreline. It finished 44 points to 16 in favour of the home side.
Yeah, we had some fan views on this one, of course, from Fatboy Rob And he said a piss poor effort from the champions, but I had a sneaking suspicion